Hello and welcome to day 6 of the Australian Underwater Hockey National Championships. We're broadcasting to you live from Ballarat in Victoria. We've got a cracker game coming up. We've got the seeding games in the elite women's division, and we're going to see Tasmania, who finished number 1, taking on South Australia, who finished in 5th place. But don't let the placings fool you. This is bound to be quite a tight match, and I'm very excited to see how these teams perform head to head. Now, in the commentary box with me, I've got a woman in red and yellow representing South Australia, and she's going to tell you all about who's in the lineup for the South Australian women.
Hey, it's Ruth here from South Australia. Just letting you know, these teams actually faced off against each other this morning, and Tasmania did come out victorious 4-1. One of them was a penalty goal. But this means South Australia's coming in, they know what they're facing, and they know how hard they've got to work in defence. So here in South Australia we have Sarah Tyndall, number 12, captain, Catalina Chica, number 13. We have a bunch of developing players too. So Eleanor Mooney, 2, Azalea Cheglick, 6, Nina Harris, 19, Kay Davey, 40, and Madison Rose, 60. And of course we have some old hands as well. We have Ingvild Rasmussen, Emily Dressel, not such an old hand, at number 9 from Canada, and Ellie, I'm trying to find her number, Ellie Ningelgan on number 8.
Yes, the South Australian women very appropriately dressed in their red. They are in red hot form. Their run in this tournament has been on the up and up all throughout. And there's certainly a good prospect of taking down the Tasmanians. Now, the Tasmanians, they're green for go. We have got Thea Buick, who is a New Zealand ring-in and playing her first Australian Nationals, so very happy to have her here. And then the rest of the lineup, we've got Fiona Walsh, number 13, Eliza Game, number 6, Camille White, the captain, number 9, Alexander Summer, number 12, Alice Vanderwood, number 13, Hannah Robert Tissot, the vice-captain, number 5, Grace Wells, number 7, Gabby Larson, number 1, and Phoebe Stewart, the wonderful number 10. Lots of these women have recently played world championships in either the age groups or the elite women, so lots of victorious players. Very excited to see how they stack up against the South Australian women. Lots of firepower coming from the middle in South Australia with Sarah Tyndall and Catalina, and they've also got a lovely ring-in from Canada, Em Dressel. Ruth, can you tell us a bit more about the South Australian women's team?
Well, for years Sarah's had to play other states because we didn't have a team, so Sarah's kind of curated the team and trained them all. She's coaching and captaining. So basically we've got a bunch of younger kids who are very aspiring. 2 of them were non-travelling reserves, and we've actually just got our roving reporter who's courtside, who's going to give us the ref calls as they come in. So that's Joe talking to us from the poolside. So he'll just be telling us when the refs give a call. What else can I tell you about the SA girls? They're fast and furious. I guess what they'd really is they've been working a lot on the defence, and against Tasmania they'll be mainly focusing on a defensive game. They know they are probably up against a superior team, but they take heart in the fact that they held out Tasmania for a really long time in the last game. So, and they scored a goal against them. So I think that they've got a good chance of at least holding them even until half time if they've got enough fitness to keep the pressure on as they did earlier this morning.
Yeah, Sarah leading from the front there. She's a really fabulous, fiery player, and she had a big impact on the Australian team earlier in the year. Just to run you through the Tasmanian women a little bit more, they play and train together a lot and have done so for a really long time. So they're a bit like a well-oiled machine. They really know where they're going to find their other women, what their strategy is. They've got a new coach this year, Ben Richardson, who's moved over here from New Zealand. As play has been running for about a minute now, we're on that far wall. Okay, there's going to be a ref's call now, and we've heard from our roaming reporter very generously on the phone with us, keeping it live. You might have noticed we don't have a court clock and we don't have a scoreboard, so we're going to do our very best to tell you what's going on. There's a call against South Australia for barging. We'll see that taken. All right, Tasmania on the drive. but South Australia doing very well to clear it out, and they're off and away up the wall. Big wall drive now from the South Australians. Tassie scrambling to shut them down, and it looks like we've had a referee call, and we'll see what Joe has to say about what's been happening over there.
So in South Australia, we've only got one club, and literally everyone, kids and adults, all just play against each other. So it's against Tasmania. So it was a free puck. Didn't say what it's for. Looks like they've retained possession, and they're still heading down the wall. Tasmania better get on it. They've got it over to the side. So South Australia will be looking to curl, swing it out, switch it over to the other side, and hopefully take a drive towards goal, but looks it's been a call. Okay, South Australia's going to have a red hot crow at this. Tasmania tends to form a very solid line of defence, very, very difficult to get through.
It looked like it might have been Eliza Game getting the steal out and driving to the off wing. I think she's going to be pulled back, and we'll wait and see what the referee call is, but I expect it's going to go against Tasmania, so they'll have to reset on their back wall. As Ruth was saying, really strong defence from the Tasmanian women. Lot of experience as they set up to take this free. South Australia look to drive right up the guts. Big flick. And we'll have a bit of a melee. It's slowly making its way forward. South Australia looks for a back behind, but she's been cut off. And the Tasmanians have just managed to clear it to their corner, streaming in lots of green bodies around the puck. And I think they might have been... Oh no, we've had the impact with the camera. And we might see if someone can go and save camera one as we... unfortunately, a casualty in this game so far. The first to take a big hit. Our camera has been pushed into a different angle by some furious Tasmanians looking to clear the puck. They've successfully driven it out, and South Australia is going to have to defend this penalty now. The Tasmanians quick to set up. Gabby Larson taking... Oh, beautiful movement from Gabby. She misdirects the South Australian, finds a wing on the inside wall, and we're going to have a wall drive now from the Tassie girls. As we enter a bit of a dead zone of play, it looks like the South Australians are being pushed back towards their goal tray. Gabby Larson lurking now. Very patient player as we push right up on the South Australian goal tray. What answers have they got? Can they keep out this Tasmanian artillery barreling in? And it looks like there's going to be a call from the referee. I don't know if the puck successfully went in, but it looks like the referees are holding their hands up. All right, I believe Tasmania have successfully put the first score on the board and scored a goal. Now, I have heard player number 5. That would be Hannah Robert-Tissot. But that could have also been a penalty against South Australia. I'm not sure. Tasmania has scored the first goal of this game, and it may have been off the bat of Hannah Robert-Tissot. If so, great job, girl. All right, play recommencing in this court. Ruth, what answers do you think South Australia will have for Tasmania?
Romy, you're a much better game strategist than me, since I play scrubber grade. But I think they'll just be really focusing on defence. I don't think they're going to be trying to attack up the wall early. It's just too risky. So if they can get it down in their end, that's all very well. But defensively, they're just going to try to get it to that wall.
Yeah, I think it's a good move from the South Australians to look for the safety of the wall. I think the one thing the Tasmanians haven't really liked this tournament and typically don't like much at all is the wall game. As South Australia move the puck into dangerous territory, but it's been picked up by the Tasmanian. I think that's Hannah again. Lanky body. She's beaten the player with a misdirect, and they're going to drive up this wall again. This is not a good sign for South Australia. Can they answer with a strong defence? Play entering a bit of a dead zone. South Australia not looking too phased at this moment, so I think they've wrapped up the Tasmanian drive for now. But yeah, very quick legs from some of the Tassie girls, and it's hard to shut down that lateral movement when they're up and away. All right, it looks like South Australia have regained possession. She's being chased by the Tasmanian. as three of our cameras have decided to have a little bit of a nap. I'll see what we can get back for you guys. Unfortunately, cameras get tired too, so at this stage of the tournament, they are starting to feel the fatigue. All right, we've got to drive towards Tasmania's tray. Gabby Larson looks to knock it down. Streaming in South Australians. It's clutch defense now. Camille White getting her body in the way, trying to get that steal off the South Australian. She's driving up the back wall. Really strong defense from the Tasmanian forwards coming in to support their backs on this back wall. All right, we're playing hide and seek hockey now. It's anyone's guess what's happening in that court. I think Tasmania may have just been able to regain possession. Oh, desperate! Oh, the stress and the suspense is just killing me now, Ruth. All right, our cameras are holding their breath, just like our players. Absolutely. Lots of pressure on everyone. The Tasmanians defending this beautifully. They've broken down the Australian offense, and I think they might just be away here. We might see them driving up the wall, or we might see South Australia scoring. I'm not sure what's going to happen. All right. I think a huge sigh of relief. I think there's been a call from the referees, and we can all breathe. We're now on the South Australian defense. Anyone's guess what was happening there? I'm sure the players don't know themselves. I'm probably playing blind in solidarity with our poor, tired cameras as Tasmania set up for a free puck. Just a little bit of that old school curtain tactic as a forward swimming forward into the South Australian defenders. Quite open play this close in front of the goals, and South Australia moved to push it out towards the wall, tangled up with the Tasmanian wing. And there's been a call. I suspect there's going to be an obstruction or barging call against the Tasmanian girl. Just got her body a little too involved in that tackle. All right, Ruth, you got to give me a chance to catch my breath. I'll hand over to you.
Okay. So if the players you're looking for in South Australia, you'll see Azalea. She's got stripy legs. So if you see somebody with stripy legs, tape on their legs, that'll be Azalea. And she's a forward, centre forward usually, but at this grade Sarah's usually taking centre forward, so she'll be a wing. Someone else you'll see with the tape on them will be Eleanor Mooney. She'll have a tape on her arm. If you see a yellow snorkel, that's Nina Harris. It's my daughter. And I think we're looking at, that's probably Kata there. Is that right? No. And Emily from Canada in the back line. So just giving us a bit more support. And oh no, that's Caden. That's Caden in the back line. So Kay Davey, one of our developing players, number 40. So ready, they're going down. Tasmania's driving forward. Oh, up the wall, making a run for it. Hopefully making some progress and hopefully get it into their forward court. Switch over the other side. Tasmania's famous for switches apparently, big switches. Penalty for Tasmania for barging. So South Australia gets a free puck. Fortunately down in their goal end. Sometimes free pucks don't seem to be a benefit because you're charging straight into trouble. You've got to work out how to play them. When the girls were playing under 19, they didn't really have the strategy and the knowledge to break through that. But with Sarah's guidance, they've been working on that a bit so that they can be a bit stronger on those free pucks, or have a combined or a consensus about what they're going to do. Over on the far wall, no one can see anything really, but it looks like there's been a call.
Yeah, Ruth, that's a really astute observation. I thought there was a call, but it seems like we're playing on all the way down the court. I was ready to tell you what was going to be the free, but it seems like we're playing on. Tasmanians streaming through. They've beaten the last defender, and she's flicked it into the goal tray. While the rest of us were all catching our breath, Tasmania have successfully put their second score on the board. Really, we've got just under 5 minutes left to play. Unfortunately, I can't tell you who scored that. I'm going to have a guess and say I think it was Alice Vanderwood with that nice big flick. Vander smashing. Yeah, it's a really astute observation from Ruth in terms of the free puck taking. And I think the issue is when you're taking a free puck in the traditional way with the 3 backs behind the puck, the 3 forwards in front of the puck, you're actually going into a 2v1 contest because there's 6 defending players all facing towards you and only 3 places facing towards them. So if you don't time your flick absolutely perfectly, there's every chance it gets knocked down or it doesn't get through that line of forward defensive players, and then suddenly the backs are on the back foot. So I do think we as a country, not just South Australia, need to start rethinking these free pucks a little bit more, because at Worlds as well, the Australian men in particular really struggled to make the most of those free pucks happening right in front of their defensive goals, because it's so hard to defend against that wall of 6 defending players. All right, we've had a restart now. What answers have South Australia got for Tasmania putting 2 on the board early on? They've been very good offensively, but unfortunately Tasmania's defense is just so strong. It's really hard to break through that line. And I think unless they can maybe just try a little more patience to press their defense, make them open up, tire out their back lines, wait till the forwards are out of the way, that might be when the scoring opportunities open up. Because it's hard to defend for so long. Gaps will start to appear. All right, the Tasmanian wings on the drive. She's been screened very nicely by the South Australian, but there's a second wave coming through. Looks like it's been taken to that far corner by the South Australian defense, and they're going to go for a drive up that wall. It's South Australia's puck now. There might just be a bit of a melee happening. We'll see if the Tasmanians can get a turnover and press the 45. No, but South Australia is doing very nicely here to maintain possession, rumble up the wall. This is good. This is good momentum for the South Australian girls now. They've got Tasmania on the back foot. Around mid-court, I think South Australia's still just got possession. They're pushing the Tasmanians. We might see a deep switch now coming from the Tasmanians shortly. They've gotten South Australia to flatten out a little bit, and the open space might present itself on that far wall. All right, I think we've got a turnover. I think Tasmania now in possession of the puck. They're rumbling up the wall. And we're going to have a referee call. All right, we've got a chopping foul against the Tasmanians. I think the foul's mostly going South Australia's favour so far. My experience yesterday playing against Tasmanians, quite a few kickouts and fouls against the Tasmanians. I'm not too sure if they're just, maybe getting the short stick of the refereeing, or if there is a little bit too much body contact as South Australia drives towards the tray. It's been picked up beautifully by, I think, Phoebe Stewart, and she's going to clear it up the wall. Supported by her centre Alice and her fullback Gabby coming through to support her from behind. That was just a beautiful save from Phoebe. Really patient. She was underwater for a long time. Oh no, camera one's suffered another collision. Unfortunately, it's not too bad this time. We've got a nice view of the Tasmanian goal tray as the wing, it might be Camille, is now going to go for a big drive. Beautiful swimmer, Camille. She's taken it all the way up to South Australia's defensive third. Bit of a melee in the middle. South Australia's scrambling to defend, and they've done well to shut down that drive from the Tasmanians. They'll give themselves a bit of time to breathe. Tasmania look for the 45. They're pressing towards the edge of South Australia's goal tray.
There was Maddie Rowe fighting down there. She pushed the goal off to the side and it was taken out further. There's another attack and it's hard to see who it is there. Does that go in? Looks like that's in.
All right, Tasmania's sunk another goal. I can't imagine there's too much time left. We've got a minute 30 left in this game. I didn't see the goal score again. I'm so sorry. Really lovely team goal there. South Australia did so beautifully to defend the first time and the second time, but they just didn't have the legs for the third and just unfortunately got rolled over by that Tasmanian steam train. All right, we have got a minute-ish left in this game. The score is currently 3-0 in Tasmania's favour. Alice Vanderwood looks to enter some sort of spin cycle in the centre. I'm not sure what the game plan was there. But it's paid off for them irregardless, and Tasmania driving up that far wall. They might get all the way to South Australia's back wall. Hopefully South Australia have got the lungs to just hold it in that corner and close out the first half of this game. Ruth?
Very difficult to see what's going on here, but obviously South Australians really need to dig deep. They're probably tired, but they know that they just got to keep that defence. If they come anywhere near that tray, they've all got to get down. So for those at home not very experienced with hockey, you can go down, nothing's coming your way, go back up, grab another breath so that you're fresh enough for when the play does come to your way and you have no time to rest. So Tasmania's making a big drive, pushed across, but flicked over, too strong. I think number 6 with 5 seconds to go. That'll be half time. So, Romy, perhaps you can tell me, like, what's going on in the players' minds when you're the 5th seeded game and team and you're coming up against the number 1 team and you've already played them that day. How do you get over that? The psychology of it, because every game's a new opportunity, right?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head with that, Ruth. Every game is a new opportunity, and South Australia, I know the score was 4-1 this morning, but they were really in it until, I think the last couple of goals came really late in the second half. They were 1-1 with Tasmania early on, and I think you learn opportunities you can try and exploit when you play them twice in a day. I guess the difficulty is, it's, as I've said already, and as you pointed out, Ruth, South Australia bringing a lot of really talented younger players who don't have the tournament experience that some of these really seasoned Tasmanian women who played, 20 plus nationals, have been to multiple world championships. Like that last goal, Eliza Game scored that. She is a world champion currently. She took gold on the Gold Coast 2 years ago now, in 2023. I think the thing is, anything's possible in this sport. There's plenty of times I've seen teams seated 3 or 4 places behind another team and they come out of nowhere. They hit them like a steam train. They catch them unawares. They found that little opportunity they can exploit. So yeah, anything's possible. Not an enviable position to be in, 4 goals down with a half to play, but at this stage of the tournament, goals do matter. And so South Australia is probably thinking, what can we do? If we can't successfully pull off a win in this game, what can we do to minimise the damage for the rest of this 15 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, by the same token, I've seen plenty of teams, I think, come in a little bit too confident when they think that they're going to smash another team and are really surprised when that team puts up a good fight. What I think I've noticed in this women's comp is that there's no huge big blowouts in scores. It's not 20-0 kind of results that you might have seen in some of the junior comps. They're relatively low-scoring games. I mean, it's really played all on defence, really, isn't it? It's all about how good your defence is. So it looks like they're ready to restart, but we've only got 1 camera. So looks like we'll only be seeing South Australian goals this half, potentially. Let's hope they get one. The other goal is coming up, so we might be lucky. They'll be ready to start any second. 4-0 Tasmania's way. And this is the second half, if you've just tuned in. Tasmania's up and they're off. So Tasmania's quickly on the puck and trying to push through. Looks like they're in the melee, retaining possession. No, maybe South Australia's managed to get it over to the side wall. And then they'll try that difficult task of inching it up. Looks like Tasmania's got it back again. Could be anyone's here, actually. No, it's being inched forward by Tassie. And now making a drive right towards goal. Stopped by South Australia. And there's been a call. No, there's not. They're playing on. No. I saw a player come up and thought that they were coming up from a call, but no. Coming up for a breath, one of those rare things. So South Australia fighting it up that wall, but meeting opposition. So the back will be trying to get it to their forward, but not into a risky position where it can be stolen and switched over to the other side of the court. I'm trying to pick who I can see here, but really I can see just a whole lot of fins. So I think that might have been Ingville going down there. That's Katter for sure.
We do not know which player from Western Australia in particular scored that goal. Is in the middle of the court.
I know that quite a lot of the viewers at home are sympathetic to the idea of it when it's hard to pick your own child or your own child out of the water. You can imagine what it's like for the commentators trying to work out who's who and pick them when you've got 6 different people subbing with another 4 at any one time. Anyone could be on the court. It's been a call. No goal. No goal. Blocking by Tasmania. So, Romy, can you explain what blocking is? Like what they would have done blocking in that situation?
Ruth, I think the call might have been gloving, unfortunately. Which, in terms of disallowed goals, it's probably the most common foul because you're just really frantically trying to push the puck in the tray and a little bit of glove ends up on the puck instead of the stick. It's probably the most common call throughout the tournament because it's really easy when, the puck's flying around, legs flying around to just miss the puck, hit it with your glove. As our cameras decide they need a little bit more shut-eye. Oh, they're back on. They're going to power through this game. They're keen to see what happens next, just like we are. I think it bears mentioning some of my favourite players in the whole world are in the pool right now. Katter is just such a absolute force to be reckoned with. I don't know anyone who hits the puck like she does. She is just such a competitive beast. And Sarah Tyndall up ahead is just a real animal as well. Like, she is just so passionate. She's got so much heart for the sport. And then the Tasmanian women's team, look, it's like reading a Hall of Fame list for a lot of them. So many really decorated, talented women. Some of them have won, 5 or 6 national titles. Really impressive pedigree of players. As well as some relatively newer faces to the elite women's division. Gabby's obviously made a real name for herself in the Australian team, but they've also got Grace coming through the ranks, who's just been to Malaysia to play in the Junior Worlds. All right, South Australia moving up through the middle. They're right on their back goal tray. Can they push it out? Unfortunately, the back's too late, and I think Tasmania have successfully flicked the puck into the tray. Number 5 for Tasmania, that's Hannah Robertisso. I think she might have claimed her 2nd goal for the game. Really well finished. I think Tasmania are finding those gaps off the 45s. They're really dangerous when they make that lateral movement like that. And they are starting to punish South Australia for it, unfortunately. I'm not sure what answers Australia might have. I think maybe their off wing could look to be a bit more offensive in defense to try and shut down those movements. I'm told we've got 10 minutes left, and an update on the score. It is now 5 goals to Tasmania, and South Australia is yet to score, but they are going to go for a big push now up the near side wall. What are they going to pull off? I think there's been a turnover as Tasmania will look to drive all the way back towards South Australia's goal tray. Furious fins flying around. South Australia regain possession. They're going to push Tasmania back towards their goals. I think we've had a referee call now. Yep. And the Tasmanians are going to get sent back into defence. South Australia have a really valuable opportunity here to convert, but I would urge them to take this free puck as quickly as they can before the Tasmanians have an opportunity to set up their defence.
Easier said than done, Romy. I mean, they're already down and ready and taking them on, so really. They've still got it. South Australia's still making a play to goal, doing a curl, trying to get it off to another player. Now back along the back wall. but looks like it's being taken up by Tasmania. Another call. Looks like that'll be against Tassie. South Australia coming back for a barging call against Tassie. So South Australia's got another free puck, another opportunity to practice what they're going to do to get pucks through that wall of defence. So that's Ellie hanging out on this side. No, Tasmania's away, racing up the court and getting it out of trouble over on the wall. It's been followed and fought furiously, but they're still making ground. Tassie's still making ground and swimming quickly. Well, it's in a dead spot. We can't quite see. Looks like it hasn't come over. Must be. Was that a call? They took a while to come down again.
Looks like they tried to switch across the other side of the court, but were stopped in the middle. Now this may be more dangerous for New South Wales, putting the puck in the middle in front of their goal.
So we can't see anything at the moment. Just too much happening in the way, but it's heading over to the far wall.
Ruth, I think the biggest casualties of this tournament so far have been our poor cameras. They're doing their absolute best, but unfortunately, they don't have any defense mechanisms. They're not the apex predator of this environment, and they've just been copying an absolute belting from players' fins. Ruth, I got the legend herself, Nat Wickham. She's a stalwart of the Tasmanian women's team, not joining us this time, unfortunately, but her son Ed is really putting on a performance in the men's division playing for Tasmania, and she tells me that she's just loving the commentary. So thank you, Nat. If you're watching us live, I can see about 20 of you in the live stream. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure. Score update, it is 5-0 to Tasmania. I'm not sure how long we've got left to play. Ruth's going to go take a look at as Tasmania drive into the goal tray. We'll wait and see if they're going to get this goal allowed. I think they have. I think number 9 for Tasmania. Now that might be Camille. All right, yeah, Captain Camille getting a captain's goal. She's just another, talking about favourite players, Camille is just an absolute icon. She's one of the best swimmers to ever grace the Australian national women's team. She's just beautifully fast off the mark, and with Eliza Game, the two of them just, cannibalise other teams. Really impressive players.
So I guess the South Australians should be feeling pretty awed, but also proud of themselves to be in the same competition as all of these really stellar players. It's daunting to face a team like that, and they possibly did a little bit better against them this morning when they were a bit fresher, possibly a bit more tired this time, or maybe the Tasmanians came in knowing a little bit more about what to expect and talked about that in their team chat so that they knew that they had to break through that defence. Once you know a team that you're playing against, you know where the weaknesses are. You've got to really work to exploit them, and a clever team can do that.
Yeah, talking about strategizing, I think I called him Ben Richardson before. I'm actually pretty sure it's Ben Richards, so sorry about that one, mate. I'm not sure how much coaching experience he's got under the belt, but he's certainly got a lot of really brilliant knowledge about how to play this game of underwater hockey, and he's helped the Tasmanian men's team a lot by joining their ranks. Ruth, can you tell us a bit about coaching in South Australia? I know Sarah Tyndall's stepped up into a really big role, and sort of what kind of vibe her leadership's taken, especially for those younger women's players in South Australia.
I think maybe a few years ago everyone was a bit scared of Sarah because she was also the head referee and we were all learning what the calls and everything meant. But, what she's done for the girls here is actually given them a lot of guidance and a lot of really positive energy about what they can do, but she doesn't let them slack off. Sarah trains every day of the week. And we do training diaries. We see how hard it is to play an elite sport, and the girls have had to learn that they have to work every day. They can't just. They have to go to the gym. They have to do their swim sets. They have to do all of that, And I know a year ago my daughter was hating all of those things. This year she's actually found it a lot more manageable. And I think that's because Sarah's brought a really positive and like an achieving mindset where they know that they're improving and they know they're coming along and they know that they're starting to get competitive in elite women, and that's an amazing thing to see. So it's a big thing for South Australia because we don't probably have the depth that a lot of other states have. Here at Nationals, we've literally got almost every player in South Australia comes to Nationals and competes in our teams. We don't pick our best. We pick all the people who can go, and that's our teams. So that's the way it is. Looks like there's some subbing going on. Is there? Or is it a break? Oh, it's a break. South Australian break towards goal. Wow. Still successfully defended by Tasmania. It's now hard to see because they're all down there. They're going to try to cycle that back in. I can see Azalea there. She's going to fight really hard for that puck. She's a strong player. So, Maddie Rowe from the back. And they've scored. South Australia have scored their first goal in this match by Sarah Tyndall, captain. So that will make the score 1-5. 6-1.
Yeah, that's my favourite kind of goal to see. Like, plenty of teams would just feel like, we're 6 goals down, we're down and out, but not Sarah Tyndall's team. They just dug deep. That is proper grit to push a goal like that. It's just so impressive to see teams coming through with their leader. Like, Sarah really does lead by example, and she would have just thought to herself then, I'm going to get this goal. I'm going to do this for my team. It's going to help us. Even if we're not winning this game, it's going to help us going into our next game against Queensland, which I really think is a winnable one for them. I can't imagine Queensland's feeling really confident going in against them. I'm sure they've got some concerns. Tasmania, strong answer from Alice van der Wood. She moves fast for such a brawny, explosive body, but you definitely don't want her hitting you through the middle. South Australia have really found a second win. They're really still in this game. There's a lot of fight and hunger. Really impressed from the young women in particular stepping up to the bat.
So I shouldn't just talk just about the younger women because actually our experienced players none of them have ever played at world standard. They're experienced players because they've been playing the game for a long time, and we've seen actually huge improvements in some of them too, like playing at elite level. Really, you rise to it, and that's why it's so important to get as many people, give them the opportunity to play elites. So we've lost our camera. We don't know what's going on. It's very unlikely that the game result is going to be affected whilst we can't see the overall game result. But what we want to see is every interesting play, because every player can do something good, and you want to see your. That looks like that was in. Everyone's come up. Another goal by Tassie. So that makes. Oh, the umpires are having a bit of a chat. We'll decide, and we'll wait and see what they decide. So there's a number of reasons why a goal might not be allowed. So just because it goes in doesn't necessarily mean if somebody's done something illegal, as the gloving happened earlier, then a goal might be disallowed. So we don't. No goal for gloving. He did say gloving again that time, didn't he? My poor hard hearing ears. I'm going to hand you back while I check the time, Romy.
Yeah, I've seen a really unfortunate disallowed goal this tournament already. Nothing illegal happening around the puck, but unfortunately the goal was disallowed by the attacking team doing an illegal sub, which is just really, you're probably getting a fine for that one, mate, if you cost your team a goal because you got in the water too early. Now, I'm not sure how much time we've got. Just 1 minute 20 remaining in this game. Either team could score from here, I think, realistically. But at this point in the game, it's all just, what have you got left in your tank? Because it is tiring. It's one of these sort of bizarre things where every breath is worth its weight in gold, and you have to be so strategic about when you're coming up to the surface, when you're dropping underwater. It's quite a shallow pool, this tournament. Most of us are used to playing in pools 2 meters or deeper, which means you can really hop up and down quite quickly, and it's really hard to find the space around the court. So Tasmania doing really well to exploit lateral opportunities where they show themselves, because they're quite rare to find with all those bodies sort of tussling each other underwater. Camera 2's decided they're going to that it's going to clock out of the game early. He's come back. He's in off the sub bench. He's had a little rest, and camera 2 is going to show us what's happening. All right, the Tasmanians seem pretty content to just lock it up on the wall. Interesting backwards movement from that off half. I've not seen one quite like that before. Oh, even more combat with our cameras, our poor cameras. They're doing their absolute best. All right, Ruth assures me that we've got full time in this game. The final score 6-1 in Tasmania's favour. So Tasmania is now done for the day. They are going to finish first in the elite women's division. South Australia have got one more match of these seeded games, and they're going to take on the reigning national champions, Queensland. But I have to say, Ruth, if you're seeing red in that game, you're not imagining things. It is red on red. There could be blood in the water for this upcoming Queensland-South Australia game. Have you got a forecast on the score for me, Ruth?
I don't have a forecast because I don't want to discount the South Australians at all. Like we said, in hockey anything can happen, but they're really tired right now. They're going to have a little nap probably before they face again. But it's not very very long between the games, so you only got time for maybe half an hour to lie down after your team chat, and then you have to be warming up again for your next game. So no rest for the wicked.
And speaking of blood in the water, the next game up in this court is the Western Australian men taking on the Barbarians men. Fellas, I hope you've said your prayers. It could be a bit brutal. Anyway, best of luck to all those teams moving forward. Thanks for joining us on the live stream, and stick around for some more great hockey. Thanks so much.
They're off